We are calling our meeting to order. It's a pleasure to welcome all of you to this regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen for the City of Natchez. I'll ask you to please stand for our invocation to be followed by our pledge. Providing our invocation today is a man we all know and love, and we're glad to have you here, Reverend Jim Sanders. And you have our sympathy and our prayers for you and your family in the recent passing of your wife. And thank you for being here, Reverend Sanders. We now recognize you.
Good morning, Mayor and Board.
Good morning.
Let us pray. Wise man once wrote these words: no man should enter into any great important undertaking without first invoking the blessing of thee. And we do that this morning. Heavenly Father, we thank you first of all for the Son of Jesus. It gives hope to this world. I pray this morning that the blessings of God will continue upon our city and its people, upon our mayor and board, as they make decisions that affect all of us.
Yes.
I pray for the continued diversity and unity that is displayed all over our city. And otherwise, men must love those who cannot remember the past or condemn the people. I pray for our law, our firemen, first responders, and everyone in the medical field as they go forth each day, providing safety and healing to all people.
Yes, sir.
I pray that our mayor and board will always look to you, Lord, for wisdom and guidance, as your word reminds us to do so. This morning, I offer this prayer in the name of Jesus, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend. Please join in our pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. We'll ask the clerk to administer the roll call.
Alderwoman Hall.
Here.
Alderman Frazier.
Here.
Alderwoman Smith. Here. Alderwoman Irving.
Here.
Alderman Davis. And Mr. Mayor, he was here. They're here.
There he is.
Alderman Davis. And Alderman Dillard.
Here.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. For some reason, the agenda is not in my book. I need an extra agenda. But I do know that the next item normally would be, and I just want to be sure, yes, the approval of minutes. Madam Clerk, you recognize?
Yes, we have one set of minutes ready for approval. It's the July 12th regular board meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion? We'll call for the question.
Second.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you.
We don't have our special presentation today. That has been delayed. The next item, we have no other city business, unfinished business, county business. Department directors reports. James Johnson, you are recognized.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You received a copy of my draft report in your packet, and then I requested this morning a copy of the changes or additions to our report for presentation today. First item, hiring Rebel Plaza Design and Construction Services from our recently awarded law institute National Forest Service. Consider the notification that our application for funding assistance for the mentioned project was recently approved. Grant funds awarded total $25,000. Local match totals $30,000. Staff is requesting a motion to accept the sub-award agreement. Upon acceptance of the award, the next step will be work with the National Park Service to complete Chapter 106 review.
What is the pleasure of the board?
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Irving, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion on the motion. We will have to say this is a great step forward in our efforts to bring about a beautification of that MLK Triangle area, which will become Hiram Revels Plaza. And it is noteworthy that this is being done to honor the former pastor of Zion Chapel, who just so happened to go on to become the first ever African American to serve in the United States Congress, either house. So we're excited to be working forward, and I want to thank Friends of the Riverfront for their leadership, including this in the master plan. I want to thank Downtown Natchez Alliance for being so involved in seeing this to this point. And I want to thank Normal West and Zion Chapel for being the lead entity, and actually, Ms. West, you being the lead person in this effort. So today is a great day, and thank you, James Johnston, for pursuing and receiving and finding and getting awarded this grant for the city. So at this time, I'll call for the question.
Second.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion? Do we need a roll call vote? We can do this with a voice vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you.
I do want to, if you don't mind, give a special thanks to Ms. Doyle as well, who helped tremendously on this application.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Thank you. Is Ms. Doyle here? I can't see, but we are very grateful for Chesney Doyle. Thank you.
Next item in the report, North Natchez Park Youth Center, bid package number 2 without alternate number 1. Staff is requesting a motion to accept bid package number 2, including the add alternate for bid painting and contracting, totaling $476, and summarized below.
What is the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis. We'll have discussion.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderman Frazier.
On this bid package here, how many people we had bid on this, James?
I believe it was 2. Mr. Frazier, I did not bring my last board meeting report. I believe it was 2. Don't recall his prices on this spreadsheet at my desktop.
My next question is, are we attempting to, I understand about this, but are we attempting to bid some of this stuff out to minority contractors? Are they getting a fair shake in this game?
The bidders may have some subcontractors that are minority who work on the project. I can't say yes, I can't say no at this time.
I would like to know.
I can speak to that. The project manager, Mr. Waycaster, was asked to make an effort to have this sent to as many contractors as possible, including minority contractors. And we can affirm that that was done. And we even provided, with the assistance of others, a couple names to him that were given to us. We can only ensure that the offer is extended. We can't force anyone to.
I'm fully aware of that, Mr. Mayor, but like I say, we got a contract here, and some of this money should be allocated towards the minority contractors. That's my basic concern. And we spend a lot of money, but it should be spent equally in the community. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Frazier. Further discussion? Yes, Mr. Callaway?
Mr. Johnson, just for the record, this was the lowest bid in the package.
All right,
And
thank
for
you.
the record, Mr. Attorney,
I'm sorry,
and for the record,
Alderman Frazier, you're recognized.
for the record, Mr. Attorney, as this board always states, sometimes the lowest bid is not the best bid.
This one, there was only 2 bidders.
Okay,
This,
thank you, sir. Okay,
All right.
okay.
I do want to add, I believe that we did have 2 local minority contractors pick up bid packages, that being Dunn Construction and Elscott Construction as well.
Okay.
All right. I would like to call for the question. We are ready to move on with this. Second, all right, we will. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Any abstain? Roll call. Alderwoman Hall,
Aye.
Alderman Frazier,
Aye.
Alderwoman Smith,
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving,
Aye.
Alderman Davis,
Aye.
Alderman Dillard.
Aye.
The ayes have it, motion carries. And I just want to say, I'm excited. We are fully funding the complete restoration of the youth center at North Natchez Park. And I can't be more excited about it. In addition to this, very soon, we expect to have confirmation that that youth center is being designated and will be the state's newest historic landmark. And I'm excited. Thank you for all the work that's gone into this and getting us to this point. Next item, Mr. Johnson.
After requesting a motion to approve supplemental agreement number one with Waycraft Associates for $38,106 for work associated with awarding bid package number 2, which is the interior and the second level.
What is the pleasure of
So moved.
board? All right, motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion? And this is just to get the remaining items involving upstairs. Very straightforward.
Yes, sir. We had a caveat, yes.
Right, very straightforward. We will call for the question.
Mr. Mayor, I just have a question.
Okay.
Upstairs, where
Yes,
is the
I'll-
youth center? In the red house? Or where? Where we refer
North
to?
Natchez Park Youth Center, there is a second level.
I didn't realize that. That's the reason why I was asking. So it's upstairs in the red house. Okay.
It's,
Mr.
there's a
Mayor.
staircase is primarily used for storage.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, yes, Alderman Dillard.
You said that the increase or the additional $38,000 in additional fees pertains more than the $23,000 for the upstairs. That's for the total interior package, correct?
The add-on is $23,500 into the contractor for work on the upstairs. Then you have the
Supplemental agreement number one.
$38,106 for Waycraft Associates for services to be provided associated with the awarding of that bid package and the construction not exceeding his contract. His contract was based on a 365 construction budget. Total amount awarded exceeded that.
Correct.
That was the caveat in his contract.
Right.
The city received in awarding him that higher than 365, he was due additional funds for work to be performed.
That's correct. It's just the way that you worded it, that it made it sound like it was associated only with the renovations of the upstairs of the youth center.
Based on $8 amount.
So for $38,000, which is basically,
9% of
Yeah.
the overage, yes.
which is about what his original one was, but since,
12%.
yeah. Thank you, Mr.
All
Mayor.
right,
Requesting
thank
a reduction in fee.
Thank you. We'll call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. Next item, Mr. Johnston.
Staff is requesting a motion to waive the building permit fee for bid package number 1 and accept the bid package number 2 and add alternate number 1.
What's the-
Estimated value $2,321 because of the sewer cost savings.
What is the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis. I will call the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Commerce Street ADA improvement of the 2021 Transportation Alternative Program. The city's consulting engineer, A&M Engineering, has requested to incorporate scale and drawn illustrations into the development of the plan specifications for this project. The MDOT has no objection as long as the plans include applicable transportation standards. Staff is requesting a motion to allow A&M to incorporate scale and drawn illustrations into the development of our plan specifications for this project.
What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall,
Second.
seconded by Alderwoman Smith. I want to say we have been communicating with stakeholders who are business owners and property owners in that block who will be most affected by this project. And we do not plan to proceed with anything final until we have had a couple more meetings and till we can ensure that everyone is on board. Also, we are doing our best to approach these improvements one half of the street at a time so that traffic can continue to flow and businesses can remain open. Because the last thing we want to do is make it difficult on any business on Commerce Street to continue their operation of hours and business during this project. That would be and would have a detrimental effect on those business owners. I just wanted that stated for the record. Any discussion?
Yes.
Alderman Frazier?
James, how far is this project going down? Just one block? Just one block?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Any other? Yes, Alderman Dillard?
It is the request for hand-drawn illustrations just to get it through this process for approval, or will there be mechanically scaled,
I provided
drawings?
an example, to the board, I think in their respective package, I mean,
I
illustrations,
didn't get it.
or my draft from my draft report the other day, should have been paperclip, to it showing an example of what we're dating.
Is this one?
I mean, that's just a simple example, yes, but those are hand drawn,
Those are hand-drawn?
yes.
I don't believe it.
I have another example, as well, Mr. Dillard, I'll share it with you.
Tell me that's hand-drawn. His lettering is exceptional.
It is, I didn't say.
The lettering's not hand drawn.
But the diagram is.
The diagram.
Wow.
It's
Thank
in the
you.
package.
All right.
It's in the package.
We're going to move on. I would like to call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Next item.
Construction of additional tennis courts at Duncan Park, that's also part of our 2021 recreation bond issue. The construction of the two courts necessitates the addition of a new entity utility pole at the southwest corner of the second access road to relocate wires away from the new courts to be constructed. A new guide wire will also be added at the utility pole near the ball field clubhouse. The cost to relocate the wires away from the proposed tennis courts, install new pole and guide wires, $5,328.86. After requesting a motion to approve the cost of the requested work and to enter into an agreement with entity to proceed with this work.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Exciting that we can begin this process. Any discussion?
Yes.
I did.
Yes, Alderman Frazier?
James, you said that it was already in the bond package, right?
This will come from part of the money set aside for Duncan for the tennis courts.
Okay, I'm aware of, because like this is something that's been going on for years, to relocating these wires. But what is the I don't know if it's in here or not. What is the exact cost of for those two new tennis courts?
We have not bid the project.
You have it.
Well, we have, all we can do is give you an estimate. The city budgeted $400,000 for tennis court improvements. And so that's really all we have to go on. And from that, we did purchase the lights, for 4 courts over there. We did bring on an engineer for engineering services. We're paying for this. All we can do is really guesstimate it. I haven't asked for a more recent cost estimate, but we have not bid the project yet. So all we have are estimates.
We hadn't did the project, but how much have we done spent already?
We have only charged this project in some engineering fees. The board just approved this activity, and I think we brought on and surveyed the property. And those have been the expenses incurred.
We don't have exact figures.
I don't have my spreadsheet on those, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Alderwoman Irving, you're recognized.
Yes, and I was just gonna bring up the youth center with the tennis courts there at the youth center. What has been the improvements with those? And I know that's not in my board, Alderman Frazier, but I was just looking at the improvements there because we did have some concerns that the tennis courts, the pavement was cracked, and there was a problem with lighting as well.
I think what we're trying to do is bid this project so we can see what the cost comes in at and then appropriately budget for improvements at North Natchez.
Okay.
Okay. Further discussion?
Call for the question.
Call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item, Mr. Johnson.
Fair Street Landing and Seawall cleanup. Staff was asked to develop a scope of work and solicit quote bids for the cleaning of Fair Street Landing, seawall, etc. 5 contractors were contacted, 4 came to 3 bidders meeting. Oh, and 4 did submit both bids as listed below. You see them as listed there. You see to the left, the scope of work, scraping and painting of Ferry Street Landing, scraping and painting of the Ferry Street River Wall, scraping and painting of sidewalk and adjacent hand railing, including manhole covers, light poles, backup firewall, and river wall north of the landing. Pleasure the apparent low bidder based on all 3 activities is Thorpe Sheet Metal for $37,200, and to the other bidders as well. Pleasure of the board.
I want to make this statement before we ask for a motion. I know this may be coming as a bit of a surprise to everyone. This has been a last minute thing. But recognizing that we are not going to improve Silver Street in the low area until next summer, it is important that we now address the condition of that area, because in just a couple of weeks, we will christen the newest vessel for American Cruise Lines, the Symphony. We also will be greeting the Viking, Mississippi, and both of those companies will be using this landing. So we're looking at what can be done to beautify that area and to beautify it between now and August 30th. And so I would say this 37,200, I think we can shave a lot of that off. I'm not sure that the Ferry Street Landing needs to be painted, maybe just clean. I'm gonna, before we have discussion, I need a motion. Alderwoman Smith has made the motion. Alderwoman Hall has seconded it. I'm recognizing Alderwoman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Johnson, I think, did you get an alternate quote from?
I did speak to the apparent low bidder, yes, ma'am, and he is good for pressure washing and cleaning the landing for $5,000.
So the total would be, if we take off the painting, the total would be,
$15,000.
and I feel like that's more prudent since we're gonna have to redo it in a year. That way we're saving money, but work needs to be done. The other work is necessary because it's been a long time coming and it's past due. And we've got a lot of people coming in daily that don't see a very pretty sight down there. So I'm hoping that the board will agree to do this on the total of $15,000 even. So that would be the motion.
And it would be coming from our community development fund. All right. Do we have further discussion?
Yes.
Yes,
I do, Mr.
Alderman
Mayor.
Frazier.
You say $37,000, that was the bid you got? Or what? What to do this? This is cosmetic work, correct?
You could call it cosmetic. There'd be a lot of cleaning as well. We did spec out details for cleaning different surfaces, including concrete, aluminum, and steel, and how to properly paint them, including primer and 2 coats.
A point of order, the motion is for 15,000,
50.
not 37.
Let me say this. I understand beautification of downtown Natchez and everything. I don't have an issue with some of the stuff, but my concern is that we got other areas that need to be addressed. I know what they're gonna do down there. They're gonna paint the down on the Silver Street here where the old casino. I understand the casino been gone quite a while. They hadn't did anything down there. They're gonna beautify it, put Natchez and all that kind of stuff. So, I'm not totally against it, but other areas in the city that need cosmetic cleaning. We spend a lot of money on downtown, and a lot of my constituents in my ward are complaining about spending money on downtown and not spending within the city of Natchez. That's my base concern. But as we all know, Natchez is a tourist town, and I understand about the riverboats are coming in, and I'm familiar with to me, it's cosmetic work down there, beautifying downtown, down on the hill and everything, but.
Okay, I have to make a comment. In the state of the city, we discussed the Natchez Current. A river flows together, unified, all toward one source. Just 10 minutes ago, we approved spending almost $800,000 to improve the youth center at North Natchez. In fact, over that amount. Obviously, we are working to improve this city from one end of the other, and I do not want to be party to any segmental conversation.
Mr. Mayor,
that
you can say
divides the city.
anything that you want to
We are
say.
discussing
I understand.
15,000.
We understand.
And I'm going to
15,000,
hold my
Mr. Mayor.
point that the Natchez Current is strong. It moves together.
Mr.
A
Mayor,
river argues not whether it's going to go left or right, but that it's going to flow together. And I want to call for the question.
Mr. Mayor, I'm trying to have a
15,000
decent
is a
conversation
small
here,
amount.
but you so rudely interrupted me with this conversation.
I did
I'm
not. You were
criticizing-
complete,
I'm
and
not-
I had
I'm
my
not criticizing
opportunity.
Natchez, Mr. Mayor, but the way you're doing it is wrong.
I'm sorry.
You're trying to put me out
Alderman,
in front. but
you
I'm not gonna-
inferred
I'm not,
that we are
Mr. Mayor.
neglecting your ward.
Mr. Mayor.
And
I-
10
I was
minutes ago,
talking,
we
Mr.
approved over
We did, Mr.
800,000
Mayor.
for
We
a
did.
property in your ward.
We did.
So
Mr.
I'm just
Mayor.
keeping the
But I'm
facts
just
straight.
saying downtown. I understand about downtown, but we're trying, like I said, I'm just trying to bring a point forward.
I call
You're
for the
trying to
question.
cut me off. You can call all you want.
Thank you. The
can
question's
hit
been called.
you can
We'll
hit the
proceed
gavel
to a
all
vote.
you want, Mr. Mayor.
We
I'm
will
not quit
proceed
talking.
to a vote.
You can vote.
I'm sorry, Alderman Frazier, with all due respect,
all-
just 10 minutes ago, we approved expenditures in your ward, Ward 2, a building that has been derelict for many, many years. And you're going to now argue that we are neglecting your ward because we're wanting to spend $15,000 to welcome a new.
Mr.
I
Mayor,
was
question
talking
been
about
Oh,
called.
the-
Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Mayor, I was
We will
talking
proceed
about
to a
the
vote.
other
Alderwoman Hall,
Aye.
Alderman Frazier,
name, Mr. Mayor.
Alderwoman Smith,
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving,
Aye.
Alderman Davis,
Aye.
Alderman Dillard.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Motion
You can't
carries.
stand
Thank you.
criticism, Mr. Mayor.
And the
You're
city
very
clerk,
rude.
Mr. Mayor.
the
one
city
thing I
clerk
wanna
has just, I'm sorry, the vote has been said. I'm not recognizing anyone at this time. The city clerk has just stated that she actually has funds in the Public Properties Fund. So we look forward to that. No, I have no patience for arguments that are meant to divide this city, and I will not
Mr. Mayor, what are you
recognize
trying
them.
to say to me?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Dollar,
Mr.
you're
Mayor, what are you
next.
trying to say to me?
One more item.
You need to be
Mr.
careful when
Johnston,
talking to me.
thank you.
If y'all don't mind, Mr. Peralta and others having issues with the vocal cord that have been presented.
Oh, okay.
Your report I gave this morning.
Thank
at
you.
your desk. Mr. Peralta is seeking permission to purchase 3 refurbished Dell Enterprise workstations for the Natchez Police Department for a total cost of $3,450. The computers will be purchased from NetLink Voice.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion? We'll call for the question.
Second.
Thank you. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. Mr. Dollar, you are recognized.
Yes, indeed.
Thank
Morning.
you. Good morning.
Here today, seeking permission to advertise our 6-month general bids, which would include street striping, utility trench cuts, hot mix asphalt, lay down, and the materials.
All right.
These are 6-month bids.
So
Thank
moved.
you.
So moved.
Motion,
Second.
motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Irving.
Mhm.
Discussion on the motion. We'll call for the question.
Call.
Second.
Thank you. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Dollar. Thank you. The next item, we have Sonora Cole, our Parks and Recreation Director. Ms. Cole, you're recognized. Good morning.
Morning.
I wanted to give a brief update about the baseball fields. Baseball fields, we've got some folks from the company, turf company, and they were significantly over our initial budget of $300,000 for the 3 fields. So we wanted to request permission to advertise for bids to turf 2 baseball fields. The first one is to do the tennis, and the second one is Cherry Jones Field, which is right after the tennis first shot. We are still going to start with the third field sometime in 2023, but we wanted to get some sponsorships as well as donations or grants, as well as revenue generated from some leagues and some of our tournaments that we're going to also do. So the request is permission to advertise for bids to turf 2 baseball fields.
So moved. Second.
All right. A motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion on the motion.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderman Dillard.
One, I want to thank Director Cole for your efforts of putting all this together. And in our earlier discussions, we had looked at, these costs of being able to artificially turf these infields on these little league fields. Mr. Mayor, I just have concern that it will use the vast majority of the money that was set aside in the original general obligation bonds for the baseball fields, which I think was $400,000 or in that neighborhood for, improvements to those baseball fields. My concern is that we're spending all the money on one aspect of those fields. In addition to the fields, there's of course the facilities around it, from the bleachers to the press box, the concession stands and lighting, of course, drainage of the properties around it. I have a feeling that I'm probably going to be the outlier on this, but in any case, I hope this does have the kind of success that I think that you're driving for, and I applaud your efforts in that. I just think the cost is prohibitive.
In regards to drainage, already done the topo survey, green surveying company here in Natchez, so that's already taken care of, as well as paid for through the bond. And as far as the other amenities and the bleachers and stuff, once we put together a marketing day to advertise the companies and some of our local businesses, we were hoping to get some of those sponsorships or donations in, and we can continue to renovate some of those things around.
I see your strategy in doing 2 and not 3, because that will yield you some room for expenditures to cover other aspects of, baseball as a venue.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you,
And also
Alderman.
add that although the third field will not have turf, all the other things that we're doing as far as fencing, as far as the dirt and everything will be done just like 1 and 2. It does not have turf.
Thank you.
Second.
The question has been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Nay.
I'm sorry. We'll take a roll call vote. Alderwoman Hall.
Aye.
Alderman Frazier.
Nay.
Alderwoman Smith.
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving.
Aye.
Alderman Davis.
Aye.
Alderman Dillard.
Nay.
With 2 nays, the motion does pass. Thank you, Ms. Cole. Ms. Cole, I also want to just thank you for everything you're doing. In spite of, so many who thought that you weren't up to the task, we have now
Absolutely.
accomplished so much. It's truly.
Outstanding. And Mr. Mayor.
The reason I said that is because she has received criticism over the past
From day one.
several months, even as recently as within the past couple weeks, because it appears that there are individuals in our community who don't want to see Natchez move forward, who have fought us on every level, from having events for our youth to having improvements at our parks, our restrooms, even North Natchez Youth Center. And in spite of all of that, Ms. Cole, you stay, like Michelle Obama said, when they go low, you go high. And you are an inspiration to me, because every day you keep your chin up. And at the end of the day, your concern is, what can we do for our kids? What can we do for our families? What can we do for our parks? And I commend you and I thank you on behalf of this city.
And Mr. Mayor, she has an event coming up on August 19th, movie in the park.
Yeah, we have Dr. Doolittle coming up at Dunedin Park on the first field. It's going to start at dusk.
Thank you.
As well as on the 23rd, we have Sunday Hedgehog Hog 2 at North Natchez.
On September 20th.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I love that Natchez current. Nothing can stop that river's flow. Our Natchez renewal is flowing
You're right
strong.
with this now.
I'll now recognize Frankie Legault.
The first item I have is a request for approval of Lance, and that was a typo there. Darrell is a new member of the Natchez Preservation Commission. I attached his resume. As you can see, he was a lawyer. He also served as a board member and vice chairman and chairperson of the New Orleans Historic Landmark Commission. I did my master's in urban and regional planning there, and I can tell you, we did work with their commission. At the time I was there, they had 17 historic districts that they were managing. Now I think it's up to 23, so it was a big job for that position. He's also served as a board member for the Historic Natchez Foundation. And the Historic Natchez Foundation is recommending him, and staff is recommending him.
So moved.
Second.
All right, a motion has been made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion? We will call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. Alderwoman Hall,
Aye.
Alderman Frazier,
Aye.
Alderwoman Smith,
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving,
Aye.
Alderman Davis,
Aye.
Alderman Dillard.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion carries. I'd like for you to please ask him, is he here to stand? I don't see him. I
I
thought-
intend though to contact him today because we have a preservation meeting tomorrow, and I'm gonna take him by an agenda and packet, so.
All right.
He'll be well.
Thank you so much. Next
He's a
item, Ms.
resident
Legault.
here now.
Yeah, tomorrow night is our preservation meeting, so I want to have him attend. He may not want to sit up and participate, but at least he can come and meet everybody. We can introduce him to the entire commission. The second item is to accept the resignation of Stratton Bull from the Natchez Planning Commission, and also to request approval to publish a notice in the newspaper for that position. And then I gave you the proposed schedule of when we could get it in the paper and so forth.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion has been made and by Alderwoman Hall and seconded by Alderman Davis. We will now proceed to a discussion. I want to just thank Mr. Stratton Bull for being so kind and so generous to the city with his time and expertise. We appreciate that. This motion is to accept his resignation. We will entertain a second motion to proceed with publishing notice. I'll call for the question.
Hall.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. The next item is to approval to publish notice in newspapers. And as always, I would like to make sure we are publishing in the Natchez Democrat and also the Bluff City Post. I will entertain a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion on the motion. We'll call for the question.
Hall.
Second.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Legault. Next item.
This is a discussion and consideration of the B5 Highway Business and Medical District, and also including approval of medical marijuana dispensaries at this point. We will be going at a later date to include more items under medical marijuana, such as cultivation and so forth, and also to encompass those uses that the medical, retail, and residential development study has recommended in those districts. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this at their July 21st, 22 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion?
Yes,
Yes, Alderman Frazier.
so you are looking into this into a little more detail. So you said this is just for discussion.
More details? on it?
Yes.
Okay. The,
No,
Mississippi.
I think his question is,
No.
we are taking action on this,
Yes.
but there will be another action we will take soon because the Planning Commission is meeting very soon to make sure that the recommendations of our Natchez study are incorporated that will include retail, medical, and residential in this area. And we are encouraging residential development, especially in the area of the old Tracetown shopping center. So this is a first step to approve the district and approve the guidelines that regard the medical cannabis industry. And I also want to say it's good to see our friend Dr. Tina Bruce, who does so much for our community and who actually is hoping to operate a dispensary in this area. The city, of course, that's all at the state level, but we wish you well, and we appreciate all that you, your husband, and your practice mean to Natchez, Dr. Bruce. I just wanted to say that. So any further discussion?
Call the question.
I do.
Okay, Alderwoman Irving?
And I get, my question is this, the medical district? Because I've had several people call inquiring and reached out to other aldermen as well, and hopefully they were able to provide them with the necessary information that was needed based on their location. So I know that they would have that information because it's an application packet that they would have to fill out. So they have that information already. Let me listen more to you, and then I can come back with my question
Okay.
with the B5 zoning, because that's what I'm.
The area that is shown on the map that was included
Mhm.
was originally a B4 zoning district. And what I showed you in their packet was B4 and B5 to indicate to you that the only difference is going to be, at this point, is going to be the medical marijuana dispensary. Now, the P represents permitted, and the SE represents special exception. With the special exception, there are several times when that's used. When you want to ensure that a number of conditions are met, you do it as a special exception. And because the medical marijuana has a lot of establishments, all the establishments have various regulations that you have to follow, then that would be a reason to have it as a special exception. And that was what the planning commission wanted it as, so that we could ensure those conditions were met. If it were permitted, there's another reason that you want to do it, that you do a special exception, not related necessarily to medical marijuana establishments. The other reason, if you have a use that's going to go into an existing building, you may want to look at the site to ensure that they have enough parking or that the entranceways are adequate. And so you could do a special exception for that to ensure that they meet those conditions. The planning commission could put a condition on it that, so for example, they may need, the former use may have needed 5 parking spaces where the new use may need 12. So they would want to ensure that those parking spaces or adhered to. But there are other conditions too that might be there. That's normally when a special exception is used.
So are waivers permitted?
What?
Waivers.
It's not according to this, but they will be included in the new one. Or you were talking about the distance waivers?
Yes, the distant
They will
waivers.
be included in the revisions that we're going through.
And that was my question. Just wanted to mark.
Further discussion?
Call for the question.
All right. Have a second?
Second.
We'll proceed to a vote. Alderwoman Hall,
Aye.
Alderman Frazier,
Nay.
Alderwoman Smith,
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving,
Aye.
Alderman Davis,
Aye.
Alderman Dillard.
Aye.
Thank you. The ayes have it. Motion carries. I also want to just point out, we have followed state law even to the definitions. Everything here, as included, is in concordance with the state law.
Mr. Mayor, may I say something?
Our discussion's over on that. Very brief comment.
Okay, I do want to say this. As we travel through different parts of the state, we've seen different dispensaries. California is one that was actually the model for the nation to follow. One of them, major. And, you know, we're saying a medical, I'm not against that, but what I am is this, it's economic development. And so when you put all this economic development down 61 South, what other entities? Look at the footprint where all your buildings are going to be restored. Nothing on the other sides or different parts of Natchez is going to be restored. And so you got tax base. You got people be purchasing buildings, they're gonna be restoring them, you're gonna have.
We don't have a
tax-
motion on the floor. I'm
Okay.
gonna have to ask you to bring
That's
your
the
remarks to a
concern that I
conclusion.
have, is economic development, and nothing's gonna go on the north side of town, or any areas other than down south with that medical
Thank
district.
you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Legault. Thank
Hope
you.
that's in the minutes.
Yes,
Please put that in the
I'm
minutes as
sorry,
well.
we don't have a
No,
motion on the
discussions
floor. Just a very brief comment. Okay. Alderwoman Smith.
Would you mind stepping back up, please?
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Legault. My question is about the hearing coming up for the murals. I know it goes to the preservation, then to commission, then to us.
That is-
If after that whole process and we make changes, does it go back through or is that it?
The ones that were established prior to being allowed in the city, or in the historic district, well, we allowed them to stay until we got an ordinance in place. Then they will be brought back through to see how they compare to how those murals compare to the ordinance. And then the Preservation Commission would act on that to see as to whether or not they felt they were in conformance with the regulations. And the regulations that we're drawing, I've researched a lot of cities such as Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Charleston, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, St. Augustine, Florida, and New Orleans, a lot of the major cities that have a number of historic districts. And that's what we drew our regulations from a lot of those cities. So we didn't add anything different than anybody.
Have we been emailed what y'all come up with so far? Or do we need to wait? I was just gonna look
We
through.
don't have.
Some people that say they don't want them, some people say they
I
want
do.
them.
I
So,
want
you
them.
know, it's like with anything
Email it
else,
to me. Anything that comes
I
through.
haven't taken a poll or kept an account or anything, it's just people have their own opinion as to whether or not they should be in the
I just
historic.
want to see it.
I understand, of course. And we will make sure that that a draft is emailed to all the aldermen this afternoon. Thank you. Mr. Burke, if you could just please see to that. Thank you. We now will entertain our city officials' reports. Alderwoman Hall?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The one and only time I met Congressman Thompson was April 14th, when he came to the opening of the Women's Center at Alcorn, Natchez campus. I have already met Congressman Harper, a former congressman who is also our lobbyist, and our current congressman before the redistricting was done at the congressional level. So when I met Congressman Thompson, he shared with me that he was certain that I would get back with him at some point during our brief conversation, and I told him I would. So I did reach out to his office, and with all of the work that we're doing now at Rebels Plaza, I did ask his office to do a resolution honoring Senator Rebels as the first Black senator. Not only was the first Black senator, but he was the first Black in either chamber of Congress. So I will now introduce the resolution that has been put into the congressional record on May 18th, and I will read this. And before I read this, I will make a motion that this be placed into our minutes as a record.
All right, a motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded
Second.
by Alderman Davis. We'll continue with discussion. Alderwoman Hall.
Congressional record, proceedings and debates on the 117th Congress, second edition. House of Representatives honoring the life and service of Senator Hiram Rhodes Rebels. I was asked to present information on the history and life of Senator Rebels, which I did, to the Chief of Staff's office of Congressman Thompson. And this is what was put into the congressional record. House of Representatives honoring the life and service of Senator Hiram Rhodes Rebels. Honorable Benny G. Thompson of Mississippi, Wednesday, May 18th, 2022. Mr. Thompson, Madam Speaker, I rise today to honor the legacy and service of Senator Hiram Rhodes Rebels. Senator Rebels was the first Black person to serve in the United States Senate, and he was the first pastor of Zion Chapel, African Methodist Episcopal Church in Natchez.
Senator Rebels was born a free man in Fayetteville, North Carolina on September 27, 1827. In 1845, Senator Rebels was ordained a minister in the African Methodist Episcopal Church after attending the Beech Grove Quaker Seminary in Indiana and the Darke Seminary, DARKE, Seminary for Blacks in Ohio. At the beginning of the Civil War, Senator Rebels established 2 U.S. colored troops regiments from Maryland. And in 1862, he served as chaplain for a U.S. colored troop regiment in Vicksburg, Mississippi, and Natchez, Mississippi. In 1863, Senator Rebels established a freedmen's school in St. Louis, Missouri. In 1866, after serving churches in Louisville, Kentucky, and New Orleans, Louisiana, Senator Rebels settled in Natchez, Mississippi, where he became pastor of Zion Chapel African Methodist Episcopal Church. In 1868, Senator Rebels' first elected position was as a Natchez alderman. In 1869, Senator Rebels was elected to the Mississippi legislature as a senator. On January 20th, 1870, the Mississippi legislature voted to seat Senator Rebels to fill one of 2 unexpired Mississippi U.S. Senate seats vacated by Senator Albert Brown and Senator Jefferson Davis, who vacated his seat to serve as president of the Confederacy. During Reconstruction, as Mississippi was readmitted to the Union on February 23, 1870, Hiram Rhodes Rebels took his seat on February 25, 1870, as the first Black person to serve in the United States Senate and served on the Education and Labor Committee. At the end of his Senate term on March 3, 1871, Senator Rebels chose to return to Mississippi to become the first president of Alcorn State University, formerly known as Oakland College. Alcorn is the first land-grant school in the United States for Black students. Alcorn is named for Senator Rebels' political supporter, Governor James Alcorn. Briefly, in 1873, Senator Rebels was chosen as Mississippi Interim Secretary of State after the death of John Roy Lynch. He took a hiatus from Alcorn in 1874 and became the pastor of a church in Holly Springs, Mississippi. In 1876, he returned as president of Alcorn and retired in 1882. Senator Rebels returned to the ministry in Holly Springs, where he died January 16, 1901. Madam Speaker, I ask my colleagues to join me in honoring the legacy and service of Senator Hiram Rhodes Rebels. And this is placed in the congressional record, of which I have a complete copy.
That's absolutely beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Alderwoman
Mayor.
Hall, thank you for seeing to that and having that done in our nation's capital. And what an appropriate time now, and the very day that we have proceeded forward with yet another step on the creation of Hiram Rebels Plaza right here in Natchez. The motion is on the floor. Is there any further discussion?
Call for the question.
The question's been called. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. And we want to thank our Congressman Benny Thompson for standing up on the floor of the House and entering this in the congressional record on our behalf. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Further comments, it is still your report.
It was an honor to do this, and as I said, Congressman Guest has done much for Natchez, as has Senator Wicker, Senator Hyde-Smith, and now that it is becoming apparent that Congressman Thompson will be the representative for this section of Mississippi, it was fitting that I reach out to him to assist this area as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Alderman Frazier, your
Yes.
report.
First, I need, I don't know if it come through James or whoever, I have a Mr. Flynn Wallace who wanted me to purchase some property on Daisy Street. We tore down the house next to his mother's house. He wanted to see about purchasing property. Do he see you, James, or who do he see? Okay, okay, I'll get in touch with him and tell him that you need to call you. Second, let me say this, in reference to the conversation that we just had, about, the north side of town in Natchez. I was just simply stating, Mr. Mayor, and to the rest of the board, that money that we spend on here, I have no objection to that. But I was just simply saying, and as you stated about the youth center, we did make a motion to spend the money on the youth center, which is highly appreciated. But there's also other projects that need to be done, not just on the north side of town, all over town. That's what I was simply stating, Mr. Mayor. So I thank you, brother. I don't know, you took it out of context. I'm not blasting what was said about Natchez or anything like that, but I was just simply stating, and I'm like the rest of people, there is other projects, but it's gonna take time to get to them. So that was just my conversation, Mr. Mayor. But to me, and I'm just being honest, I wasn't trying to be criticized, but if the criticism is there, we all get criticized, but we can stand and take criticism from each other, which is very helpful for the conversation and everything next. But I'm not trying to be a hostile or anything. I am committed to working with this board. Also, that I vote my conscience. I vote if something I don't like, I vote it, and that's just the way it is. We all have votes, and we all have our own rights in the way we want to see things. So, like I say, I'm not being criticized in Natchez. I love Natchez. I'm committed to working with Natchez. I'm committed to working with this board. But I will criticize anybody, and I do have the right to speak out as an alderman to say what I want to say. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Frazier. Alderwoman Smith?
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Alderwoman Irving?
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. I want to begin, I think the issue will clear up if we have more photos. Just using this as an example, Ferry Landing Street. If we have photos up here on the screen where everyone can see, we would have a better idea. We can have a better picture, because a picture depicts 1,000 words or more. Okay, so that would be better not only for us as a board, so when we make these adjustments in dollar amounts, we see what we're actually doing. And it's a clear picture to those that are watching this meeting at home on the internet, FaceTime, Facebook, what have you. It would be a better picture, and that would alleviate the negative conversation, as you say or refer to, Mayor. The other thing that I want to do is thank the Mayor and Board of Aldermen for their donation in support of the Montevideo Jubilee. It was truly a success. Thank Richard for coming out and bringing the proclamation on your behalf, Mayor. We thank you. And I also would like to thank our Public Works Director, Mr. Justin Dollar, and their staff. He did an excellent job with preparing the Montevideo community for the event. I want to thank the fire chief for coming out, him and his staff, and he was personally there, coming out and doing the waterfall for the youth in our community. They truly enjoyed that. Chief, you were there from the beginning to the end. We thank you and your staff as well, the police, Natchez Police Department, for creating a safe space for that event, the entire area over there from the very beginning to the end, and we thank you. The Sheriff Department as well. We had safety issues and they were addressed. They were there, they were very present, and I just want to say thank you. Thank all the city officials that attended the gospel hour. It was phenomenal, and I thank them for coming out and being in support of that event. That was our 32nd annual event, and we're looking forward to our 33rd annual event next year and beginning our planning already. I would also like to state, it's not on the budget docket or the claims docket that I will be attending the congressional event, the Tunica Convention, August the 18th through the 22nd. I will be attending that event as well.
Do we need a motion for approval for travel?
We have already, we approved the
we did-
travel a
we
few
did
months ago.
approve it.
We
That's
did.
right.
We
Okay.
did that, but it's not there today. But I
Okay.
will be attending it.
All
I
right.
also have a proclamation that I would like to read and need a motion. It's pertaining to Black Business Month, August Black Business Month.
Mhm.
So let me just read it. It said, whereas John William Timpton, a historian, and Frederick A. A. Jordan Sr., a civilian engineer, founded Black Business Month in November 2004 to drive the policy and affecting the African American businesses, an initiative to recognize Black-owned businesses across the country and highlight their importance to the community and national economy. And whereas Black business owners account for 10% of the U.S. businesses and about 30% of all minority-owned businesses, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, which amounts to the approximately 2 million companies owned by African Americans. And whereas nearly 40% of Black-owned businesses are in healthcare and social services, repair and maintenance, laundry services, and other categories, including advertising firms, auto dealerships, consulting services, restaurants, barbershops, beauty salons, and more. And whereas August is National Black Business Month and Black-owned businesses are zero recognized across the country, and Adams County joins in celebrating and recognizing the importance of Black businesses in our local community. And whereas in 2021, the National Black Business Month is particularly important given the disproportionate impact of COVID-19 on Black communities who already face challenges in starting, running, and growing their companies. And whereas the City of Natchez, Natchez Inc., Visit Natchez, will host spotlight companies and provide resources to small business owners and entrepreneurs, encouraging the community to join the celebration, supporting Black-owned businesses and other entrepreneurs beyond this month. As Alderperson Award 4, I encourage all citizens to recognize the valuable contributions and importance to our community and economy of the Black businesses. In witness thereof, I have unto set my hand to cause the seal of the consolidated government to a fixed date of August 9th of August 2021.
Thank you, Alderwoman.
Do I need to make a
Thank you.
motion to approve this and have it recorded in our minutes?
If you want that
Okay, I do.
put in the minutes?
Yes.
Certainly. A motion has been made by Alderwoman Irving to have her proclamation put into the minutes.
Second.
Second by Alderman Frazier. Discussion on the motion? We'll call for the question.
Call.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The
Thank
ayes
you.
have it, motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderwoman.
I have one other, I've observed that on our adjudicated properties list, that some of the properties that are being adjudicated are not added back to the list. They're being dropped off. So can we, I think it's those properties, Mayor, and I'm asking a question. Those properties that we had looked at, I think it was maybe approximately 20 to 30 properties that we were going to have the prosecutor look into to see whether or not those properties could be demolished or taxes to be paid on them. They were taken away from the adjudicated list, but they had not been placed back on there. So is it possible to add those properties back?
We'll certainly look into that. Thank you.
I have one other, and the reason why I brought that up, because at 36 Minor Street, we cut the property last week because of Minor Jubilee, and we're grateful for that. But I had members of the residents that live in close proximity on each side of that property. It sits between two properties. They called and said, Ms. Irving, when the grass was cut, we're dealing with rodents and we're dealing with snakes, and they're coming in their homes. They have small children. They can't put down pesticide for them because they fear that something would happen to their children. And so that property needs to be cut on a regular basis. It's 36 Minor Street, and it had not been cut in maybe 7 or 8 months. The grass is over 6 feet tall. And they said the back portion of the property had been cut in a couple of years.
Okay, we'll look into that. Thank you.
Thank you, and that ends my report.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Thank you.
Mhm.
I will say that I quite often receive from citizens and aldermen reports of dilapidated property conditions, and we're doing our best to address it. Just send those texts to me or emails or messages, and we are making progress, but there is definitely more progress to be made. Yes, I'm coming back. Alderwoman Smith, you did have one thing you
I'm
needed
so
to.
sorry. I neglected
report
to
on.
recognize Officer Stanley Starks, who has been out for over 6 months trying to recover from COVID. He's finally strong enough to be back. And we just wanted to recognize if he wants to peek out and say hello, welcome back. Yeah, we're glad you're doing well. Thank
We
you.
really appreciate you, Officer Starks, and so glad you're back. Thank you. Thank you, Alderman Smith. Alderman Davis, you're recognized.
Only one thing, probably community college will be having a 50th anniversary Friday at 11 o'clock. That is my report.
Look forward to that. Thank you. Alderman Dillard?
No report, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. We'll move on now to the city clerk. Madam Clerk, you're recognized.
First item, I've got a request for approval of the first August 2022 claims docket.
What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion on the motion. We'll call for the question.
Second.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Request for approval of the first August mini claims docket.
What's the pleasure?
Second.
Alderwoman Smith has made the motion. Alderwoman Hall has seconded it. Discussion.
The mini
Second.
claims docket.
The mini claims docket.
I think, can we just slow it down a little bit? Because I did have some questions on the regular claims docket.
Well, I'm sorry.
I mean, you made a motion, but
Be ready with your motion because we are following our agenda. What is your question with regard to the small claims docket?
I don't have any with that one. It was
Okay.
with the regular docket though, but there is
Okay.
some questions that I had.
You're invited to get with the city clerk at any time.
Oh,
The mini claims docket, call for the question.
Second.
We'll
Wow.
proceed to the motion. You didn't have any discussion. Is there any
I
other
was getting my
discussion?
claim docket and you just go by so fast, you
Okay.
guys. It doesn't give you time to
Mr. Mayor,
prepare yourself, but I
I'm
have
sorry.
things written out.
We follow a process here. We
Mayor.
have called the question. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Okay, next item is retroactive approval for the following interfund transfers. We had a transfer from the general fund to the ERBR project number 01-34001 fund account in the amount of $3.59. There was a $5 fee to keep this dormant account open. So this covered the remainder of that fee.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion on the motion. I'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Transfer from the general fund to the 177 Natchez Adams EDA. This was for $3,000 to cover the Shift South payments that were made on the previous docket.
What's
So
the pleasure?
moved.
Alderwoman Hall has made the motion,
Second.
seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion on the motion.
Yes, sir.
Alderwoman Irving.
Could you explain the breakdown of the funding of the Shift South payment of $6,000? Can you explain that breakdown?
I do not have those details.
Then I need a copy of that because we just need to see how this is going because I need more information on that because we're moving money constantly. So it's every time a home is, you don't have any details.
I mean, we received the invoices from Natchez Inc. when eligible recipients for this incentive program move to Natchez, they meet the requirements. They send us a bill for what they were eligible for of those incentive monies. We pay it to them and then they pay it out to these homeowners that have moved here.
Can I get a
So-
breakdown of that? That's what I'm asking. Can I get a breakdown of that, please?
These monies, and I guess kind of what your question is, why are we moving the money into this 177 fund? that 177 fund is where we put the EDA's portion of ad valorem. And so then those monies are settled to them as their ad valorem payment. These are additional funds that are coming from the general fund. So I've actually put it in place and set up a separate line item within the general fund to have it paid directly from there, rather than paying it from this account, having to move money, et cetera. But I mean, if you're looking for an exact breakdown of how much we have paid to date,
Yes.
just let me know when I'm in the office and I can pull that information, but I wasn't prepared to bring that today.
And I guess what I'm asking this also, does the county pay any of this? Because all the homes that are sold are not all in city limit. So the county
I
is not.
can answer to that. This is only applies to homes purchased in the city limits. And a requirement of the program is they invest in at least $150,000 in real estate in the city of Natchez. Adams County had an option to participate and chose not to participate.
And I just wanted to know that, because that's what I was asking about. the
Alderwoman
breakdown.
Smith, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do want to say, because I've talked to Amy Guido quite a bit about this, but they are they vet these very carefully. They see copies of their employment. We're not just handing out money to any household in the city limits. They're not. And then they carefully send the records over to city clerk's office, and then it's made. But I just want to make sure that's understood.
Thank you, Alderwoman.
Well, thank you, Sarah, for sharing it. But, I was just a little confused because I was wondering whether or not any of them, I see some of the houses have been sold down south in other locations. And I was just wondering, were they a part of that shift south? And was it just in the city limits of
It's
houses?
just in the city limits, and there's a cap on how many we can
Yes.
do.
I'm going to invite Alderman Frazier to make his comments.
Yes, I just, do we get the name of those homeowners or what? Do the city get the name?
Yeah, on the
Who purchased-
invoices,
yeah.
yes, on the invoices, they give that information.
Thank you. And I do want to say this has resulted, being that we were one of the very first cities in the country to do this, it has resulted in, we stopped counting last year at over 1 billion exposures to Natchez on everything from social media to all kind of European news outlets, every major publication. It's been very good. Now, if you will Google it, you'll find that many cities across the country are copycatting Natchez. Some are actually offering more. We found out recently that, and I shouldn't advertise this, but there's a city in Louisiana now offering 10,000. But we think that 6,000 is a good number. It incentivizes individuals to move in our community, to buy real estate, and that 6,000 is broken down into relocation expense and other expenses that have to be justified. And I also want to point out, those of you who were in attendance at the State of the City, you will remember that I said, now that Natchez is recognized as the most affordable city in America, it is time to rev this program up and let's do it again. And you'll be hearing more about that in the weeks to come as we approach our new budget time. All right, the question is called.
Second.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Next item is another transfer from the general fund to the 177 EDA in the amount of $1,600. And this is to cover docket expenses that also relate to the shift south payments for the.
What's the
current
pleasure of the board?
docket.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion on the motion. We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Okay, next item is request for retroactive approval of the repayment of an interfund loan. There was an interfund loan in the amount of $300,000 made on November 30th of 2021 to the Capital Improvements Fund. We are now paying that back to the general fund.
Where
Okay.
is that
So
located?
moved.
I'm sorry, I need a
So
motion.
moved.
Alderwoman Hall. I have a second. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Davis. Discussion?
Yes, where is it
Yes,
located
Alderwoman
on,
Irving.
the city clerk's report. Am I overlooking it? Something else?
I gave a new report with these updates this morning. It was on your desk prior to the meeting. So there were a couple of additions as of yesterday evening.
Okay, further discussion? We'll call for the question.
Called.
We'll proceed to a vote.
Could you reread that? What was it again, Megan?
Requesting
Okay.
approval for the repayment of an interfund loan in the amount of $300,000. That loan was made on November 30th, 2021. It was made to the Capital Improvements Fund. Now repaying that from capital improvements back to the general fund.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
The
Thank you.
question has been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Okay, there are 4 city bank accounts that I'm requesting approval to close. And with all of these, these projects are long over. These accounts are sitting dormant with either zero balances or, some of them have actually, with a zero balance, been charged $5 as a dormant account fee. So it's just, kind of house cleaning. And at the end of the budget year, this is a good time to get this taken care of before we start.
All right.
Mayor, make the motion, we close all 4 of the accounts.
All right.
listed on-
Second.
Motion has been made by Alderwoman Smith to close all 4 accounts due to inactivity. Alderwoman Hall has seconded the motion. Discussion.
Yes.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
How many accounts do we have? How many accounts do we have?
How many
I don't believe she's prepared with that answer
Yeah,
at the
I- I-
moment.
They in and out of the accounts on a
And
regular
it's
basis.
not-
That's my reason for
I don't
asking.
know the exact
Could we
number.
get a copy
These
of
are
it?
dormant.
Of course you can.
Could we provide that?
Alderman Frazier,
Okay.
you're recognized.
The old municipal court police account, what chief, what was that used? Do you know what that was used for? The old municipal court, police account, do you know what that was used for? And the new municipal court account, do you know what those accounts were
If
used
I'm not
for?
mistaken, that was when the account was hacked. And we wound up changing and getting another account, and they were writing some bad checks. Am I correct on that?
Actually, this one has been sitting dormant since like 2016 or 2017. Yeah, October of
Since
2016.
16.
This is one that they had opened a new account and left this one open until all of the checks cleared for, I believe, same purpose, ticket payments and different things like that. And no one ever went back and closed it. And so it had like $8 in it, I believe, no, $3.78.
All right.
Why did the municipal court close that account?
October 2016 was long before I was city clerk.
I
It was the first time
I will
around,
say
so-
we understand that when there is an administration change, personnel change, sometimes is necessary. And I believe that is why that account was closed or no longer used, I should say. I'll call for the
No,
question.
I'm not doing this, Mayor.
Okay, Alderman Frazier.
The water improvement project account, that's
That,
the waterworks.
that set of money, and I actually discussed this account with James, and he was in agreement that this could be closed. That particular phase, and that project is over. This was a $1 balance that's been sitting there for over a year, with no activity.
James, what was that account used for?
I didn't get the title of
The-
the account.
The PF 18 water improvement project account.
Project loan. Right now going with like.
Okay, okay.
All right. Any
Call for
further?
question.
The question
Second.
has been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Request approval of the reassignment of the ERBR project bank account. This, again, I discussed it with James. That project is complete. This account held a zero balance. we were needing to open a new account for the bridge lighting project. So I would like to just reassign this and, give it a new nickname, rather than closing one and opening another one.
All right.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion?
Yes,
Yes, Alderman Frazier.
so you just gonna keep this, the old account?
Correct, and give it a new name.
Okay, so when will you see the funds?
Mhm.
Okay.
All right.
That's that was.
We'll call for the question.
Call.
Second.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries.
Okay.
Next item,
Last item that I have is approval of the July 2022 hire and termination report.
So moved.
Second.
motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion? We'll call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. I want to just thank you, Madam Clerk. You make sure that even if we transfer so much as $1, it is taken care of properly according to the way we are supposed to govern in this meeting. And thank you. I know we have a lot of little motions there, but each one's important. Thank you for your work.
Mayor,
Yes,
I just want to make a comment.
yes.
We need to allow a few seconds after we make the motion for us to get our information. I had it here. I have it listed here
Okay.
from
When
this point
when I ask
forward.
for discussion,
to-
make sure to be recognized. Thank you. If you have questions and we need to answer them, the city clerk is available at all times. At all times. Thank you. And she includes her phone number, her cell phone number on every
This
on
is,
every
but, I've
report.
said over and over again,
Um,
this is,
I'm sorry, you didn't make a motion and we got a call. A call for the question. Mr. Attorney, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chief Harrington, you here? The first item is a premium pay resolution, which is not a premium pay in the insurance business. This is additional money for the firefighters that is being presented through some COVID funds that are available. And in order to achieve these funds, we need to adopt this resolution, but I'll let Chief Harrington tell you what it is if you want to, Chief.
Good morning.
Good morning.
morning.
Or afternoon.
Excuse me, Mr. Cowboy, pretty summed it up well. This is funds that is provided by government, that is for firefighters that work during COVID. This will be coming up for the police department as well, but as part of that, we have some homework we had to do. This resolution, we had to give a class, we have some, individual affidavits that we had to get done as well. So we've done all of that part. We just have to get this done by the city. This is for firefighters that were working on or before July 1st of this year that are already certified firefighters. Those that have not been working before, working for the city of Natchez before that time, and those that are not certified are not eligible.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion on the motion?
Yes,
Yes,
we
Alderman
already had
Frazier.
it, we already had the money, right?
No, sir. Once we turn in all of this
Okay.
work, this money will be sent to the city for those payments.
So you as a fire chief can already average out how much each individual gonna get.
Each individual gets a set amount. It's
Oh, it's set.
determined by the government. I had nothing to do with it. I just fill out the paperwork, teach the class.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
And
We'll
this,
call. Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Mayor,
this does not require any match or money from the city.
No
This is
money from the city, no, none at all.
Mr. Mayor,
Thank you. Yes, Alderman Dillard.
are these monies in addition to the ARPA monies? Or are this coming from the ARP monies? And that question really is to the attorney and to the mayor.
This is special legislation from the state. This money's coming from the state as part of their COVID relief funds.
Right, you just
It's
answered
their
the state's COVID's money. It's not going to come out of the $1.7 million that
No,
we've
sir.
already received.
No, sir.
Once
That we're looking for. Thank you, Mr.
once we
Mayor.
complete all of this work, this resolution,
Yeah.
the stuff that we had to do, I will turn this information in to the state fire marshal. They will then verify all of the information and send the city a check for all of the eligible firefighters to be paid.
Mr. Mayor, one more comment.
Yes,
And-
Alderman
and-
Dillard.
And it is kind of contingent upon this, so I think it's relevant. I think we need to get with our representatives to see that we can include our public works people. I just don't see how a city could operate in those conditions without those public works.
Right.
And that they too are have to be
Purchase
engaged, they have to work. They can't call in, they can't remote work, they can't call in and say, look it up on the computer. But that's different than this, but it's related because they all work in conjunction, the police, the fire, and public works. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Dillard.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
this
Alderwoman
is
Hall.
outlined in number one, what law, what bill it is.
House Bill
It's a house-
1427.
That's just right here outlined in the resolution.
1427.
It's clear.
And I will say that we did attempt at the Mississippi Municipal League, I serve on the legislative committee, and we did attempt to have them introduce a bill that would extend first responder designation to our public works employees. However, that request was not successful, and it was determined that the legislature was not ready to do that. We will continue trying.
Thank you.
And because point well taken, Alderman Dillard. Our ice storm, I will never forget how hard our public works employees worked to make sure we could even get to where we needed to get. It was a tough time, not to mention the hurricanes. The question has been, yes, Chief Daughtry.
Hey, just get clarification on this. When Commissioner Tindall approved for the highway patrol to get $1,000 for COVID money, the Chiefs Association, Sheriff's Association, and Fire Association also petitioned the state for this as well. So the fire department has their way of doing ours. We're sending ours too. It's supposed to be $1,000 per officer given and each firefighter to the state.
Right.
I have to send my roster to minimum standards to make sure our guys are on the roll for minimum standards. And the fire department has a different way of doing theirs. The holdup was when it was approved on how we were gonna get it. I think Chad White got involved because he wanted to make sure that the officers and the firefighters got their money and it wasn't just going to the general fund. So that's why we have to go through this process. He has to do his fire association, has to do his process. Ours has to go through the Department of Public Safety minimum standards. And then once that paperwork goes in, then they're gonna send the money to us, to the city for each officer, each firefighter to get $1,000.
Great. That's great. Thank you,
awesome.
Chief. It is. We will call for question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those who are opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you, Chief. Thank you for all the work you do. The next item, Mr. Attorney.
It's a location use agreement. I believe this is the Great Escapes filming in Natchez. They want to use the police station, which another company had used before. And this is the contract they want us to sign. I have added our public entity addendum to that contract, which will need to be signed by the mayor. The dates I've given are in July, but we need to get this in the record. So I just received this week, and I'm asking the board, if they so approve, to authorize the mayor to sign this location use agreement.
All right. Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderman Davis. I will say this pertains also to a real crime show that has been filmed here. And just yesterday, filming began on season 2 for Great Escapes. Mr. Morgan Freeman will be hopefully having some Morgan Freeman sightings around Natchez over the next few weeks. And we are so grateful to Crooked Letter Studios, to Tate Taylor, John Norris, and their team working with the History Channel. And we had a meeting just recently, the producers, they expressed a joy in being back in Natchez working on season 2. These are 8 episodes. It means quite a number of jobs in our community and quite an infusion of money into our community. We're very grateful for that. We need a motion. We need a motion. Or did we? We have the motion. We'll entertain Mr. Frazier and then we'll call for the question.
Mr. Attorney, just right quick. Can you, just for the general public, can you go into a little more about the discussion and consideration located use of agreement between the city? Just for the public, can you go into a little more detail?
A little more, most of it is who owns the rights to the filming. They make sure that the city knows that they own all the rights to the filming and all the rights to display. And then we give them permission to use the police department, some beds temporarily. It's 3 days of shooting and then they immediately abandon the premises and they cannot conflict with the work of the police department while they're there. Is essentially the contract. It's not very complicated.
Yes, but I was just simply saying, just letting the public know, like the public street, they're using the public streets and stuff, because, citizens say, well, we block the street out and we're letting them use the city street for the purpose of filming the movies and stuff. That's all and as you stated earlier, city buildings, because a lot of people say, they'll come along and say, what's going on with the police department? So we had to say, well, they're filming a movie in the city, letting that's all I was just saying. For those people in the public who really don't know what's going on.
Well, it's just more exposure for our fair city every time somebody broadcasts us on the TV.
Yes, especially when we're getting exposure about patting the bells.
Amen. Amen. The question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Mr. Callaway?
Last item I have, Mr. Mayor, is the Balloon Festival is coming again in October. And Mr. Carter Burns asked that the city approve a license agreement. And the only change, this is the same contract that this board approved last year, except the time frame is now October 14th through 16th of 2022. That is the only change.
Second.
Okay, a motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion? I do want to say a big thank you to the committee. It's a large committee that puts this on. And they just released the fact last week that we have more great talent coming. I'm very excited. It's a sensational trio that I just happened to discover. Someone, Senator John Horn, shared a link with me recently where I could watch them as a group from Mississippi. What's their name? Oh gosh, come on. Nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Soggy Bottom Boys.
Y'all, this group is amazing. And of course, I can't even recall, but we have that group coming and also another nationally known group coming. I'll share those details. We'll make sure to share those details on our website just as soon as we can. Maybe you can find them, Dustin, and put them up there. It was just Chapel Heart. It's three ladies from Mississippi who have made national headlines because they're just taking home all the awards and have on, I believe it's America's Got Talent. Is that right? I don't have time to watch TV anymore, but Senator Horn shared the link and you need to watch them. Chapel Heart, they're amazing. And then we also have another group nationally known. There they are. There they are, Chapel Heart. If you've never heard them, you're in for a treat. They will be here at the Balloon Festival. The next group is Drive By Truckers. It's a rock group known nationally. So there you go. We've got another great Balloon Festival coming up. Can't wait. The weekend right after, we welcome Patty LaBelle, Cool and the Gang, and CeeLo Green and others. I'll call for the question unless someone has any more discussion.
I do.
Alderwoman Irving?
I just want to inquire about the Patty LaBelle. What location is that?
That will be the weekend before on the north end of the bluff. Tickets are available right now
No,
on
that's sold out.
Ticketmaster.
And that's it's actually sold out. So
Really?
there's no
Wow.
way you can purchase any other tickets. Because I've
I
gotten so many calls saying,
will
Ms.
have
Irving,
to
where
look.
is it located? So, because they're wanting to
We-
purchase tickets. and-
That's a question for Ardenland, my goodness. And, we need to stick to this motion. This is the Balloon Festival contract. Anyone will call for the question?
Second.
All right, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries.
Mm.
Thank you. As far as, the Patti LaBelle concert, I told them, get ready, this will be your best-selling concert of the season. And I'm so glad that,
It's
it's
sold out, but
going
it's just
well.
if it's not covering everybody, you
So-
may need to get it back here again.
So I tell you, I want to provide my report now, the update on the christening of the American Symphony on August 30th. That's a typo. That will take place. We will have a pre-event at the Convention Center at 10:30 a.m. And then immediately following, we will go under the hill for the actual christening event. More details will be shared. We are having a campaign announcement event tomorrow evening at the Carriage House. Some of the details will be shared there, and then more to come. A press release is forthcoming. It's already on national news. Some of you may have seen it hit the travel news circuits just yesterday that the symphony will leave New Orleans on the 27th of August, and it will arrive here in Natchez for the christening on August 30th. So we invite everyone to take part in that.
You got time?
And yes, the pre-event will be at 10:30 a.m. at the Convention Center, and the christening will follow. And we're working with various partners to get everyone there. That is the announcement launch that Dustin was just showing there. That's more details about the actual christening. I wanted to give just a brief report on the special call meeting we had with Adams County last week. We had a very good joint meeting. We are so excited about the progress being made between the city and the county with regard to our airport, and that was the predominant focus of that meeting. And since that meeting, even more work has taken place, and Dallas-Fort Worth Airport is already putting out news that that they say includes Natchez. But we aren't making that announcement yet because we actually, now that we have received the coveted grant, that actually is a first step now toward a lot of more attention for our airport. Natchez is in a very select a group of airports across the entire country to get this grant and now step up to the next level of not only being able to attract one commercial carrier, but possibly more than one. So history is being made in Natchez. And you may have seen my article in the paper this weekend, and that article was thanking Senator Roger Wicker. Senator Wicker is the ranking member of the Transportation and Commerce committee there in the Senate. And without his help, we would not have gotten this grant. It is one of the very first times that an airport in this country has gotten that coveted grant on its very first try. You add up all of the money that Natchez has been getting through our state and federal partners, and it is amazing. It now exceeds $30 million in 2 years, and that includes money that has been gotten to the city, to the county, and to our partner, the National Park Service, our partner, Archives and History, all thanks to the collaborative efforts of our community and to include our lobbyists. And I just want to make that shout out. We also at the meeting discussed some other items. Committees have now been formed to look into that. Discussions regarding 911, discussions regarding the pool, and discussions regarding Morgantown Road. So we look forward to seeing that process. We, the very day of the meeting, provided the names of our committees to the county. We're working with them, and we hope that those meetings will begin very, very soon. We are throwing out dates. We're hoping that they are responding to those dates, and throwing out their own dates is important. I must, though, as I do provide this report, I must address an article. Speaking of articles, my article is in the paper. The sheriff also had an article in the paper on the very same page this weekend with regard to 911 dispatch. And as you know, I do from time to time, I feel like I must address just some mistruths that were in that article, because it's important that we keep our facts straight. What we offered is a proposal, just as the county, and I'd like to give this report without commentary. I didn't do that during your report, Alderwoman Irving. I'd appreciate the same respect. I must address the article because of this. What we have offered is a proposal. I'll call for order. Thank you. We must address it because what we've offered, and it's important that we get the facts straight. We have simply offered, Alderwoman, I'd like to call you to order, please. Thank you. Thank you.
And Alderman Davis,
I'm sorry.
because that's who we're having a conversation. It takes two people to have a conversation.
I'll ask the principal to come put you in timeout if it continues, okay? Let me back up. And so we must address it. What the city has offered is a proposal. The county has offered a proposal. We're at a process now where two entities that desire, I hope, to work together in good faith will now consider those proposals. As the city provided our proposal, it was important that we look at all sides of this situation, but also look at our financial condition in the city. And so we did provide a proposal that we believe provides for savings for the taxpayer, savings for both the county and the city. It's important that we rectify what is a bad situation. The move was not a wise move in 2016 to move this into a basement where they now have literally water and raw sewage leaking down on them, and mold issues. That should never have happened. So we agree that there is a need to move to a better situation and a better location. But at the same time, we have to do this in a way where we can continue to afford to do the things that we have to do. This city has provided for pay increases for our employees. We have provided for improvement of our buildings, our parks, and in fact, we're about to embark upon a very ambitious program to make even further improvements to our convention center, to our auditorium, to our police department, our fire departments, and so on. Not the least of which, 6 million improvements to our streets. We're doing all of this without raising taxes. The city has not, and I don't know that the city ever will, ask for money of our citizens through their cell phone bills to support what we do. We do everything we do within our means, just as any family does. And we also recognize in these economic times, it's important that we be very careful when we're spending money, because the last thing we want to do is to put anyone in a situation where then you have to look at raising taxes because you've overextended yourself as a government and can no longer meet your obligations. So it is incumbent upon us, the city and the county, to look at this very seriously and to make sure that, yes, while we are weighing the environment of the dispatchers, we also are weighing the delivery of these vital services to our citizens, but also doing so in a way that makes financial sense for both the city and the county, and ultimately for our taxpayers. We are not trying to force anything. We simply, just as the county has put a proposal up, we have put a proposal up. It's now been presented to both boards, and we enjoyed the discussion last week in open session, the combined meeting. And we hope now that the committees will take their actions and speak their mind on all of these topics, especially with regards to our 911 dispatch situation. But this is what I have to say with regard to the article. I want to see the process work. I'm not going to be out there writing articles. I'm not going to be out there debating this on social media. And I'm definitely not going to spread rumors. And I want to, right now, take care of two rumors that were included in that article. Number one, that our police department leaks. We have gone back to personnel in that police department going back a number of years. And we can find absolutely no substantiation for this comment. In fact, just this morning, in a conversation with Jody Rudder, our building inspector, who has been our building inspector for the city of Natchez now for 9 years, Mr. Rudder confirmed that during his time, not one roof leak I'm going to repeat this, during his 9 years in serving the city as our building inspector, not one incident of a roof leak has been reported from the police department. And so whatever was said about cans holding water and water being taken out and water leaking, that must have been on someone's watch many years ago. But I can tell you that is not currently happening. There was also a statement that our police department is overrun by snakes. Now, I want to just say this. I'll be the first to admit that the bathrooms are not that great at the auditorium. That's why we're about to spend $2 million to fix it. But I want to tell you, we have no such problem at our police department. What we do have is we had a prankster, I'm told, a while back that brought a snake in as a joke. And that's the only time anyone has seen a snake inside of the police department. We can laugh about it a little bit, yes, but when you put these facts in print, they aren't facts. Thank you, Alderwoman. It's important when you put these items in print, claiming they are facts, that the truth be told. Because as Joe Friday used to say, just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. And I've often believed that facts are stubborn things. But this is the fact that I know. It is time for us as a people to return to the better angels of our nature and to absolutely put the best interests of our people first. In closing, I want to also address this. Just over the past week, we've heard rumors. One rumor we heard was that our police chief was not at the meeting to discuss this because he was on disciplinary leave. And again, it's laughable that the president of the Chiefs Association, the very man who received our award, top public safety award at MML in June, that anyone would presume that he was not at the meeting because he was on a disciplinary leave. No, our chief was on a much needed vacation. End of story. And those rumors have no place in Natchez. I'm calling it out. And just as I said earlier in the meeting, that I do not subscribe to any rhetoric that divides our city. I call this divisive rhetoric, and I do not ascribe to it, nor do I ascribe to this. It has come to our attention that important details discussed in executive session with regard to personnel matters have been leaked by members of this board. I want to remind every member of this board that when we go into executive session and we discuss items pertaining to personnel matters, litigation, contracts, those discussions are governed by the laws of the state of Mississippi. And if it is found that any of you in coming out of that executive session have shared that with anyone outside of that room, it will be investigated and you will be prosecuted. End of discussion. That ends that. I'd like to continue with my report. The next item. I am so grateful that things are getting back to normal with the country of India. The COVID pandemic inflicted a real hardship on that country, but they are now back to business. And I'm very grateful that the Consul General there in Atlanta, Dr. Swati Kulkarni, has invited me to represent Natchez and to serve as a guest of honor at their 76th Independence Day celebration at City Hall, their new City Hall there in Atlanta. This will be held actually next week. And so I will be representing the city. If you'll recall, Dr. Kulkarni made a state visit here last spring in 2021, and this continues our building a relationship between the city of Natchez and the country of India. I'd like for your permission to make that trip.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Alderwoman Smith has made the motion. Alderwoman Irving has seconded. Any discussion?
Yes,
Yes, Alderman Frazier.
you gonna let me go with you?
Alderman Frazier, I wish you could. I bet we could have a lot of fun. Alderman Frazier, rain check.
I met the council, remember?
I know you did. Rain check. You and I need to road trip. Thank you for that. I have heard you. The question has been called. We'll move to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. Next item. We actually have already taken care of this. I want to thank Mr. Johnston, Jody Rudder, Justin Dollar for their very fast work on this. And I now want to make an appeal to the owner of the property across from the landing, that area where we have the roundabout, that they also proceed with beautification of that property. It's important that anyone arriving in Natchez be well impressed with the city that we are. I want to ask a question, speaking of, and ask for a motion on this. Speaking of the boats, we've been advised that Viking will be bringing quite a number of buses. And one of the most popular attractions in our city has become the Proud to Take a Stand monument. There on Canal Street, just adjacent to the Municipal Auditorium, I would like to entertain a motion that will allow us to designate one bus lane and paint a bus lane right there at Canal, right adjacent to that monument.
So moved. Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Alderwoman Hall, and I have a second by Alderwoman Smith. We'll now ask for any discussion. Alderwoman Smith.
Will it be, if you're riding past the thing, when you take your right on Canal, will it be right there?
It will.
Okay.
Just as you pass the post
So we can
office,
get out and go up.
you'll look to the right. It'll be
Okay.
right there on the right.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. We'll call for the question.
Second.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. And that leads me to this. You all been invited to the Natchez Adams Chamber of Commerce Gala, which will be held in November. We want to make sure we have a full city table, so please respond. Also, tomorrow, we are honored that Dr. Trina George, who is the State Director for U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, will be here meeting with us because all of the board has been invited to this meeting to be held at the Convention Center tomorrow at 10 a.m. We have called this a special call meeting, and we will also during that meeting have lunch, and we will tour some past and potential project sites that are available to the USDA. I want to thank, I met with Senator John Horn just a couple of weeks ago, and one of the things he shared with me was that a meeting with Trina George should be number one on our agenda. Dr. George was once on staff with Congressman Benny Thompson. She now brings so much experience from her days in Washington to the state of Mississippi, and we can't wait to meet her tomorrow. I also want to make note that the city has a number of events coming up. People need to be watching Visit Natchez and watching the Visit Natchez calendar. A lot of effort's been going on behind the scenes to get all of our groups collaborating on that one calendar. And if anyone has an event coming up, a concert, anything, even if it's an event at your house and you're a bed and breakfast and you want to get the word out there, please, by all means, put it on the Visit Natchez calendar. We are looking at that as our community calendar. There has been concern that we have events that step on each other. Well, that always will be the case in a city as busy as Natchez, but we can definitely do better if we make use of that calendar. At this time, we had one more item before, and we're going to go into executive session. We had asked for nominees provided to us by the Natchez Waterworks Board of Directors for anyone interested in that open position to come to us today. I don't know if anyone is here with regards to that or not. I'm just looking around. I don't see that anyone is here. We don't have anyone to introduce to you if they're not here. So we'll probably have to do that next time. That actually, though, was not the reason for executive session. Executive session, we do have a personnel matter regarding code enforcement. We have a personnel matter to discuss regarding code enforcement. We also have a personnel matter to discuss.
Contracts.
I'm sorry, it's not another personnel matter. Thank you, Alderman Dillard. It's a matter pertaining to contracts. And it is a contractual matter that Alderman Dillard wanted to discuss with regard to the city's interlocal agreement with the county on fire service protection. We also have another contract to discuss, and that is the city's contract with a private entity for the development of the depot, historic depot property. Is there anything I'm missing, Mr. Attorney? I think those are the three items. That will serve as our open determination for going into executive session today. I will ask for a motion to leave the regular meeting for a moment in order to hold an executive session for the minute, for the purposes so described. Alderwoman Hall has made the motion.
Second.
Alderwoman Smith has seconded it. Any discussion on the motion? We will ask for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. When we get in the room, we will ask the clerk to enter the time at which that meeting is called to order, and then another time when we come back in as to when that meeting is adjourned. Thank All right, we're back in regular session, but we do need to entertain a motion to adjourn our executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis. Any opposed to the motion? We'll move to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Let the city clerk record the time in which we adjourn the meeting. I will now give a report of the meeting. 3 items were discussed. The first item pertaining to personnel matter with regard to code enforcement, no action was taken. The second matter was a discussion regarding the city's interlocal agreement with the county with regard to fire services. Again, no action was taken. The third item was to discuss matters pertaining to the city's lease of the historic depot building to a private property. Again, no action was taken. We will now entertain a motion. The motion is that due to the increased workload of our building inspector, with so many projects now on the horizon pertaining to renovation of buildings here in Natchez, that we recognize that the role of code enforcement needs to be moved from that of the building inspector's department to that of the police department. I'll entertain that
So
motion.
moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall and seconded by Alderwoman Smith. In so doing, we will need another motion. We'll do that in just a minute. Any discussion on this motion?
Call for the question.
Second.
Question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
With one, we'll have a roll call vote. Alderwoman Hall.
Aye.
Alderman Frazier.
Nay.
Alderwoman Smith.
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving.
Aye.
Alderman Davis.
Aye.
Alderman Dillard.
Aye.
Thank you. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item will be to instruct the police chief with the help of our Director of Personnel of Human Resources to develop, and we already have a job description because we have this position, but at the current time, it is a part-time position. We are returning to having this as a full-time certified officer position. That job description is already on the books. Salary will be in keeping with that of other officers based on their experience. This will be a police officer position dedicated to code enforcement. So all we need is now a motion instructing the police chief to now pursue a hiring process for that full-time code enforcement officer.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
So he would put out advertisement in the newspaper for that position. Okay, just making sure.
Just as we will actually follow the various, I don't know if it's newspaper, we will follow the same process we follow for all of our personnel positions within the city of Natchez. I want to just as a statement to the public, we are taking this measure as a means of moving toward a proactive approach to code enforcement in our city rather than a reactive approach. And we believe that a proactive approach can best be achieved by having a full-time licensed, certified code enforcement police officer. We'll call for the question.
Second.
All right, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed, nay.
Nay.
We'll have a roll call vote. Alderwoman Hall,
Aye.
Alderman Frazier, Alderwoman Smith,
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving,
Aye.
Alderman Davis,
Aye.
Alderman Dillard.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Motion carries. 2 more announcements. Alderman, at your desk, you will see a street inventory list. We were supposed to mention this earlier. This was not on the agenda, but this just happened within the past day. As you know, our Department of Public Works has maintained a catalog of streets and their condition. It's our street inventory list. We would like to invite you to begin working on this list with your comments. It is ranked according to the various factors, traffic, condition. There are a lot of things that go into the rankings. These are estimates of cost. It was revised in July of this year. Our goal is to very quickly come to a list that we all can then vote on that will guide us in making the $6 million in street improvement projects possible. We also will be bringing to you very soon a strategy that we are just now starting to negotiate with the Board of Supervisors. It has been brought to us by the President of the Board of Supervisors, West Middleton, and that is that since they are doing a bond for $6 million right now, they're about to go into that, and we are as well, that in today's economy, we probably can get better pricing and better participation if we work these projects together, city and county working together. And that's what we want to do. So with that said, there is no motion needed. I just want you to go ahead and start the process of reviewing the list. Alderwoman Irving.
Okay, I want to say, Mayor, I'm looking at this list, and I know the last time we did the ranking, you have rank number 1, 2, 3, which is going to be Burnham Avenue, Minor Street to Concord. That actually should be number 1. That's where we left off at. Okay, so this ranking here is incorrect. 1, 2, 3. I see it's ranked 1, but we left off, and Burnham Avenue should be number 1. And I'll discuss that with Public Works Director, Mr. Dollar.
Okay, that's why I'm giving you the
Could have
list,
gotten worse.
Mr. Mayor,
so that we can get your input. Yes,
Okay.
Alderwoman
I
Hall.
understand the importance of us working in concert with the county, but if they're not ready to proceed, and we need to proceed.
They have indicated they're ready, and they've indicated that it is being said that in today's economy, the economies of scale work to get better bids. And so by having 12 million instead of just 6 million to bid, we stand to have a much better result. Just yesterday, I asked our Department of Public Works Director to meet immediately with the Public Works Director for the county to see how we can proceed in working this together very quickly. Okay. I have one other announcement to make. We unfortunately missed a meeting with the Sherry Vize, who is the director of the Mississippi Municipal League, because of our meeting. But we want to thank the Mississippi Municipal League for being here with the Southwest Mississippi Planning Development Districts and having a meeting today that involved public officials from other parts of the state. Sadly, their meeting collided with our meeting, and we were not able to attend. I want to thank my wife, Marla, for providing a welcome on behalf of the city, and I've already gotten great feedback that she did a good job. So it is what it is. We have just so much going on. And then I think we are about done. Is that it? Did we
Give us an update on
have before?
this, Mayor.
And I do have an announcement to make. Go on Ticketmaster or ardenland.org. The Blues and Soul Super Bowl is not sold out, and tickets are available. We have gotten that correction. Ardenland.net and Ticketmaster.com, and you can purchase tickets online for Patti LaBelle. All right.
Repeat that again, please.
Ardenland.net and Ticketmaster.com.
Okay.
All right, all right.
Mr. Mayor, would you please request that your office send a letter with our official dates that they're the same every Tuesday, second,
Yeah.
fourth Tuesday, that we would please not schedule that. I think it's the second time it's happened, NBC.
We
And I
will.
hate it, we're the host city and we weren't there. That looks terrible.
It does. And we will make sure that's done. I wanted to just thank everyone for a good meeting, a productive meeting. We got a lot done. I'll entertain a motion now to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith and seconded by Alderman Davis.
He's not, I wasn't thinking.
All right, Alderman Davis and seconded by Alderwoman Smith. We'll move to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion
Good,
carries.
Joe. Where's your name?
Thank you so much.